Welcome to the Chapter 1 podcast, your inside look at the people powering Charlotte's business scene. Real stories, real entrepreneurs, right here in the Queen City. We're here with Brandy Stampe of Brandy Stampe Coaching and Consulting. So, Brandy, we're glad you're here in the show. Let's start with Chapter 1. Where did you get started? How did you make your way to Charlotte?
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me on the podcast. So I am a native. I think what they call me is a unicorn now.
That is the term, I guess.
Yes. So I have been here since I was born. I'm actually from the Concord area, so I live more in the Concord area. Back in the sticks is what we call it. So I don't have neighbors, and I have a very long driveway. You have to access me, so it can kind of scare people. So they don't like to come down my driveway.
So tell me what growing up, I guess Concord is still, you'd still call it Charlotte. Tell me what growing up in the Charlotte area was like. I mean, before you started what you're doing now, what was life like until that point? Like, give me that story.
Well, we walked uphill both ways to go to school. No, just picking.
Yeah, here it is.
There it is. There's a lot of farmland where I live, and so I grew up around an area where we would go outside, we would run around, and we would explore and do all kinds of fun things. You would come in whenever your mother yelled from the back porch to come inside to eat. Yeah, so classic. I did not know what shoes were, I think, until I was 5 years old. And there are a number of different things I could do that a lot of my friends could not do who grew up what we call in the city. So, but wonderful childhood, lots of sunsets, lots of sunrises, and all the beautiful things out in the country. And sometimes an occasional cow would get away from its farm, and it would end up in our front yard. Actually, that still happens where I live. I actually had that happen last week. So fun times.
I'm from Miami, so like the talk of farms and stuff is like, when I was moving to Charlotte, I'm like, is that what it's going to be like? Is it just going to be like farms and really southern things that I'm not really used to? And I'm close enough to the city where I haven't experienced a whole lot of that, but it sounds like not too far away. That's what it's like, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's beautiful, and it's you know your neighbors, and they watch out for you, and it's just, if you need to go over and get a cup of sugar, it still happens, and there's no big deal, so it's cool.
You prefer that much to like the city life then?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would much rather drive 15 minutes to go to a Food Lion or wherever and be able to sit out on my back porch and not have to see and hear my neighbors ruckus. I like being remote.
Sure. So tell me about professional life. Was it obviously growing up here? Sounds like you had kind of like the farming like kind of feel growing up. Was it just, okay, now I want to start business coaching, or was there a professional journey that took place? Like where was your first job? Like what did that look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So professional journey. There's not a lot of options for females in the farm. I mean, there is now, but back in the day, it was basically as a female, you needed to go to college because you could be a hairdresser, you could be a nurse, something like that. But that blood, I would, pass out and I wouldn't survive. So that's just not my forte. So went to college at UNC Charlotte, actually. So again, a native. A lot of things, you'll find a lot of themes here being a native. So I went to UNC Charlotte, and I got my undergrad in psychology and communication studies. So I love figuring out like what's behind the mask type of thing
Sure.
for people and helping them like achieve whatever goal that may be. So that's always been like an underlying theme for me, but I love puzzle pieces. So I like figuring people out. So I began working for a company where essentially we would do personality testing and we would find best fit for them. So we would work with managers, and if they were being promoted to a certain position, we would say, okay, these are some things you're really good at and you want to keep doing this as a leader. However, these are some blind spots. These are some things that could happen. So this is how you need to look at how you work with people and so forth. So that was fun. But in the meantime, I was also getting my master's. And I finished up with my master's, and my department chair was like, hey, would you be interested in teaching? Because I was in the training realm and mentoring and all that. I was like, oh yeah, I'd love to be a teacher. I can make my own schedule. I don't have to deal with walking around in Uptown and wearing stilettos because I will break an ankle. And so let me do my own thing. So I began teaching at the university, and I've been teaching there full time for over 15 years. You lose count at a certain point. And then I reached a point in my career that I was, again, coaching, consulting, but not on my own. And I said, you know what, I think I could do a lot more if I would go out on my own. So I saw a little bit of a need there, especially if you want to look back to COVID and the Great Resignation, all those things. But I mean, there was a need that
The Great Resignation.
Yeah, the Great Resignation, right? We've created like just this whole hustle culture and this obsessed culture, and the next achievement, next thing, and a lot of people have really become lost as to who they are and their journey towards their purpose. And so I saw that need, and I was like, hey, when I start working with business leaders and executives and even entrepreneurs, I want them to feel happy and in alignment with what they want to do and why they want to do it, and create strategies that actually fit them rather than just say, okay, if you're an entrepreneur, you need to post 6 times a day on TikTok,
Sure.
and that doesn't work for everybody, right? So how can we create a successful business or be a successful leader in a way that's in alignment with who you truly are? So that's kind of my long answer.
So how long have you owned your company that you own now?
For 2 years.
Okay. So when you first started, what were some of the maybe unforeseen hurdles that you were like, oh shoot, owning a business, like I've got to worry about these things now?
It's a funny question. So my parents actually were entrepreneurs. So I grew up in an entrepreneurial family.
Okay.
So that's part of the reason maybe why I didn't quote unquote pull the trigger very quickly, because I saw the challenges and the things that they went through.
Just want to be rebellious, like not going to be like you guys.
Well, yeah, it scared the crap out of me because, my dad was a general contractor, and he would bid on multiple contracts for hotels, and he would build out hotels. And being a small-time business owner, if you didn't have the money to hold up things in court, like they could hold your paycheck and your whole family's ruined. And that actually happened. So it scared me to go out to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So when I decided to go out on my own, luckily I had said, okay, it's just going to be me, and I can control the clients who I want to work for. And there were a lot of boundaries and safeguards I had put into place, because in that process of transitioning my own business, I also did a little bit of my own personal journey, figuring out, I'm still in the realm of the things that I like to do, but why do I want to make this jump? Is it really because I want to do more money or whatever, or is this more of a self journey? So I took a little bit of that journey and put the boundaries in place that made sense for me, to where it wasn't as much of a surprise. But some things that I have learned is, I love working with people and doing the puzzle things, but sometimes the behind the scenes, like accounting, I leave that to the very end, and then I'm trying to scramble, and I'm like, I just
exactly
need
how that goes.
Delegate this. Like, numbers are fine, but no, I want to work with people.
Totally understand that. I make Marco, our producer, do that for me, for my company.
Nice.
So in those early phases, and I guess, I'm curious to what you're doing now too, but sometimes that looks different when you stretch it out over a couple of years. What was marketing like? Like, how did you pick up clients? Was it word of mouth? Did you do anything online? Like, how did you start to obtain those first clients? And maybe how has that changed over the last couple of years?
Oh, great question. So this brings in my psychology background. So I utilize a number of different tools when I work with clients, one being the Enneagram, as well as another one being human design. So essentially what that does is that gives you a blueprint of what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, what feels right to you, what strategies are best in alignment for you. And so for me, if we look at human design, I am a 2-4 projector. So essentially, basically what that means is that for me, an ideal client is someone who is looking for that guidance and that direction and that mentorship. And so my strategy for client marketing or finding the ideal client is what we call wait for the invitation. So it's not that I'm sitting there being idle, but what it means is that as I am going through my marketing processes, I am connecting to groups to where people are coming to me rather than me going to them. So in my case, marketing has really worked well for me, joining referral networking groups, because people can see my value and then they come to me instead of me putting it all out there and then just, it's like the idea of throwing spaghetti on the wall and hoping it sticks. Okay. However, manifesting generators, their marketing strategy is vastly different. And so that has helped in terms of increasing clients, but also had a really nice client success rate, right? Less drama, all those types of things, but that is honoring my strategy and honoring who I am. to where my marketing efforts are more aligned and it's not as
Sure.
crazy.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
no, and you mentioned different kinds of personality types. I'm curious, is there a target clientele? Are there people that typically that you've found over the last couple of years work better with you, that you work better with, or has it been kind of random and just people from all different industries?
Great question. So people from all different industries, but if I had to take the underlying characteristics, one, they're open to self-development. They're open to learning more about who they are and why they do what they do. And there's someone who wants to take action. More often than not, a lot of people just want to know, oh, I'm an extrovert, whoop-de-doo, which, we can get into the different types of personality testing and the reason why some are better than others. But really, it's the people who want to take the insights and move it to action. And that's where I really thrive. And that's where I find that my clients really thrive. They want to know the stuff, but then it's like, hey, no, I am going to take action. Let's take action and see what happens and then pivot if something, if something's not working or a little hesitant or whatever that may be. So different industries, banking industries, just all over the place. But the underlying theme are people who are open to the development and are ready to take action.
What does that process look like? Like, for if I'm a person who's interested and I want to reach out to you, kind of from start to finish, what does that process look like, and what are the actual things that you're going through with them?
Yeah, no problem. I swallowed something.
That's okay.
Now I'm coughing. So the way the process works is typically individuals will book just a free consultation with me. That'll be 30 minutes to an hour. And we talk about what are your goals? What are you trying to achieve? Because there is a difference between coaching and consulting. You might call it co-sulting, as there's a term out there, which is like a mixture of both. Making sure, are they wanting to take the action themselves, or are they wanting someone to tell them what to do? And so to see if we're a good fit. So then just from there, we see if we're a good fit. We see if what I can provide is something of value to them. And then I come up with a personalized plan on how to achieve that. So the beauty of, I guess what makes me different than possibly other coaching or consulting firms is that a lot of those businesses tend to have a blueprint to say, this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to do it.
Right.
And for me, I am all about this needs to be tailored to you. And this is based on who you are as a person, not what this leadership theory says and this leadership theory says,
Right.
which there is some, great structure to that, right? But it doesn't mean that a theory Y leader is the best theory that we need to follow, right? Because it's like, who are you? How do you operate? What are some of your defense mechanisms that come into play that might not necessarily work very well, right? So, so then we come up with a plan that is tailored uniquely to you, and then from there we start executing that plan.
Awesome. Do you feel like your teaching background has helped you in this area? Because I know that you have a background in psychology. That's what you got your degree in, but then you went and you actually taught, right? Mm-hmm. So do you feel like that's translated well to, effectively teaching business owners now, or does that not have a lot of crossover?
Oh, absolutely. Like so much crossover. So I got my master's in communication studies, and then I got my PhD, my doctorate in leadership. So all of those theories and things that I've learned have absolutely helped. And so not only am I teaching someone, but I'm also helping them come up with those strategies and actually implementing. So it's almost like the bridge between
Right.
the theory versus the practical. A lot of times you'll see individuals who mainly stay in theory, but I like to be in that in-between space. And that really speaks to my human design because I'm all about shores. I'm in those in transition spaces for people. I like to bridge those gaps. So... yeah.
What do you love most about because it's a wide variety. Coaching somebody, I'm sure you get completely different situations with every one of your clients. What's like the thing that you love most about what you get to do?
The puzzle, like figuring it out, right? Helping them see something from a multitude of different perspectives, right? And then helping them come up with a strategy that works based on whatever that goal may be. And I like it for me personally because it's always something different. If it was the same and mundane, I would drive myself crazy.
Sure.
But it's almost like a challenge, right? So it's something new, something different, even though if there's still the underlying characteristics of similar ideas behind, like, for example, executive presence. So there's certain things for executive presence, underlying concepts, but it's different for that person, right? And so that's what I love about it. It's like the thrill of putting the pieces together.
Yeah.
I guess.
No, that makes total sense. So if you were talking to somebody who's trying to take those steps and do something similar, start their own thing, what's a piece of advice that you'd give them? Maybe what's the most helpful thing that you've learned over your few years of owning your own company that you tell them?
Well, I always say you want to start with a blueprint. And for me, that blueprint is personally who you are. Like, what are you good at? What are your strengths? Because in so many ways, it's going to help you when figuring out who your ideal client is. It's going to help you figuring out your offer suite. For example, for entrepreneurs, it'll help you figure out some of these different pieces. So then when you start with your messaging and your branding, you have a blueprint to pull from. So I feel like that is extremely important to have that blueprint put in place, and then that plays a role in which the different pathways that you take. And then same if you're someone who is working in the corporate or professional field, having that blueprint of knowing who you are, how you work with people, helps in different aspects, whether if you're on a team or whatever it may be. So if anything, I would say start to know yourself a little bit more and create those actionable strategies to help you in whatever direction and goal you're trying to achieve.
So last question, this is something I ask some of my clients when we work with them, is when you think about your company, aside from customer service and price, what makes you unique compared to people doing the same exact thing you're doing?
I'm a nice person. No, I'm just playing.
I love my customers. That's why I had to eliminate it, because everybody would just go, I love my customers. I'm like, dude, nobody out there is like, I hate all my customers. Exactly. They're the worst. Nobody's going to say that. So I'm like,
because if they do, then they're not going to be making any money.
Exactly.
I would say some of the things that I highly value are accountability, honesty, and depth. So I think what would set me apart from others is that if I tell you I'm going to do something, I will absolutely do it. I grew up that way, and my dad held me accountable to that, so that's something I highly value. And then honesty. I'm not going to be someone that's going to sugarcoat what it looks like the writing on the wall. It's just going to be like, this is what it is, so what are you thinking, right? And sometimes that can rub clients a little wrong, but when we have our consultation, I say, can you handle the truth?
Yeah.
What is it, that movie, what's his name?
You can't handle the truth?
Yes, you can't handle, so can you handle an opposing opinion? And if they're like, yes, I kind of test it a little bit. And then the other part's depth. Like, I'm not into this breadth thing. Let's just go gloss over the surface. We're going to go deep, so that way you actually get some transformation. So that's really what's important to me. I want my clients to change and be able to do the thing they want to do instead of come back and be like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? Tell me about the rest of my life. No, you're a big boy or girl. Pull up your underwear or whatever, and let's go.
Brandy, thank you so much for giving us some of your time today. We really appreciate you coming on. Where could people find you if they're looking for you?
Absolutely. The best place would be brandystamper.com. I have the socials, Facebook, Coach Brandy Stamper, and Instagram, Coach Brandy Stamper. But if you want to know all the info of the human design and Enneagram, the best place is my website.
Awesome. And I'm Greg Prinz, host of the Chapter 1 podcast. You can find us on Spotify, YouTube, and Facebook. And once again, this has been the Chapter 1 podcast.